And hello, this is Renee, and today I am with Dax Valdes, and we're going to have a little carol chat. Hi, Dax.
Hi, Renee. It's nice to see you
It's so great to see you too.
in our
Um,
little squares.
Dax, you have been with I S.M.I.L.E in New York Productions, our caroling company, for how many years now? It's been a lot. This is our 25th year.
Or since 2006. 2006. Yeah.
2006. That's
Yeah.
that's several years. That's several years, and now who brought you to us? Was it Brian?
It was Rue.
It was
So Rue and I were working at this other organization called New York Kids Project, and we were bringing interactive theater to schools uh, about disability awareness. And so we were working together, going through sites throughout Brooklyn. And then we discovered we have theater backgrounds. And so when you were auditioning for carolers, he passed it along. And then because we also both sing bass, we never got to gig together unless it was the big events.
Yes, yes. And speaking of the big events, yes, so Dax is a bass, but he's also a very gifted choreographer. And so and I have to say, one of my favorite memories, maybe my favorite caroling memory with you is, like you said, we would have some of these events where there were more than just a trio or a quartet of us. We would have 25 of us together on this big stage at the Tillis Center on Long Island for the Town of Oyster Bay Holiday Spectacular for several years. They just kept having us do more and more and more and more, and we'd be singing with the Long Island
The
Pops Orchestra.
orchestra.
We'd be singing the Hallelujah Chorus, and but we also would do some of our a cappella things. And so one year, I don't remember, I wish I could remember who gave it to me, but a couple of pieces from the Nutcracker. They were all vocal a cappella pieces. One was the dance of the Sugar
Sugar
Plum
Plum Fairy,
and
and Waltz of the Flowers.
Waltz of the Flowers. And so I thought it would be really cute to have you do some choreography while we're standing there singing. And what you came up with was so whimsical. It was very you, Dax, because you are young at heart all the time. You always seem like a teenager to me, but you also have there's a seriousness about you. So it's sort of like we're singing on a stage and we're doing these really silly little uh
Yeah, I mean,
choreography.
it was
Anyways,
just like giving, knowing what we do, and we're all in our tuxedos and black formal wear, and we're standing in front of an orchestra, but they're not playing with us,
right.
giving ourselves permission to not be so serious,
Yeah.
because like the majority of us in the group, all I would say like 98% of us were uh majors in school,
Mhm.
and so this is just heightening familiar material and interpreting it in a slightly new way, which is fun to see. Because then I thought of actually, what I thought of was Mark Morris. Mark Morris is the hard nut, where everybody in the Waltz of the Flowers is in this, I think it looked like an orchid tutu, all the guys also on point, and as they go across the stage, they're throwing snow, and we're holding our music, we're looking at it, and it was just like, what could we do short of like making a mess on stage? So we had our like using
Mistletoe.
our books, just, and yeah, and also just like just our bodies in space without breaking formation, just enough of like visual shifts.
It was adorable.
Yeah,
The audience really likes that. Now that is actually, I don't know if you saw it, it's on our website. If you go to
it is.
ismileny.com, or you could spell it all out, I Smile in New York Productions.com. And there's a video page. And I believe both of those are actually on there. So you can see it.
Oh, that's gonna be a deeper dive in a moment.
Ah. Well, that is probably my favorite caroling moment with you. But tell me, what's your experience with caroling? I mean, obviously, you come back every year that you can, and we're so glad that you do. So it must have some meaning for you. I think you enjoy it.
I do enjoy it. It's making music that was that was my entryway first, like doing choral singing. And
Mm.
so missing that and getting a chance to do it every year and also see a lot of familiar faces and meet new folks. I know, University of Michigan runs super deep. And for a couple of years, I was like, am I the only person in like this generation that like of the carolers that did not go to Michigan? Go Blue. But
That's how it formed.
I have,
They now talk about the Michigan Mafia at Michigan, but I was the one
yeah,
who first said it because of our caroling group. We were the Michigan Mafia.
yeah, and I had tight relationships and friendships with a lot of those folks that still
Mhm.
continue to this day. And also, you know, yeah, just getting to know and gig with people, look forward to seeing them in the rehearsal room, and when they walk in you haven't seen them in a year, or when they
Mhm.
come back after being from away, it is really a family.
It is, and
And
it shows. That's what
yeah.
shows on the gig, you know? I mean,
Hmm.
that's the kind of layer upon layer, the history together, the being able to read each other, in a moment, reading a crowd together and being relaxed together enough to actually have fun, you know, with every
and
carol.
in those and in those instances where like you're doing a gig and you have one new person that is coming in and making them feel as comfortable and supported in that moment, because there is a lot to learn. And I remember like my first gig, I was so nervous because it was just like we're going through the book, and
It's four and a
do I
half hours
remember how
music.
this goes? Yeah. um and then also with certain gigs, working with the same people, and especially if you're doing like multiple ones in a week, or and you're seeing the same people, that shorthand that you develop is so crucial. And it also, you are embodying it enough, you can lift it off the page, you can start to connect with people. There are moments where like that nobody is listening to us, so let us, for our sakes, try something new, be a little silly, make crunchy chords, make good music. And that is something to fill your cup for the next week when you're going to your
Yeah,
your survival jobs, wherever, whatever that may be. But it's like,
right.
I get to dress up, I get to make music, and I get to have fun with people that I love. And and like going to, I also really saw some cool things in New York, things that I would have never um in my day-to-day existence been a part of, or even like dreamed of going into that building that I pass all the time, and like what is like that in there, and being able to like step inside a whole other world was
Yeah,
pretty cool.
that is really cool. And it's because of you and moments like that that we now sing when we sing "God Rest You Merry Gentlemen," very straight the second time around. Especially if Dax is with us, what we do, we swing
Let's
it.
swing it.
"God
Yeah.
rest you merry gentlemen, let nothing you
Yeah.
destroy us." And we have you to thank for that, and that's on our CD too. And you were
Yeah.
on
Oh
with
yeah, I am. Yeah. And then the Melikimaka track.
I know.
um yeah, and it was just like also just going growing up and like listening to like all the Bing Crosby, Dean Martin,
Mhm.
Nat King Cole renditions, and then doing all these like big choral works as a boys chorister. And then in this iteration where we're like singing in quartets, and then opportunity as like a big group, and then back into like trios and quartets, just like how do you recreate some of that nostalgic Christmas carol sound for like four voices or like six voices, and then starting to like dabble in arranging. But there's so much I still want to be able to like do and voice for our group. But then life
You were
life
one of
happens.
you arranged "Mele Kalikimaka" for us, didn't you? I'm sorry, I
Hmm.
should have mentioned that from the beginning. We love it, and that is a big hit on our CD. Yeah, it's
That was
beautiful.
super fun. Also, just like how do you get it to be like
It
you know, the slack guitar and just get that
You did it.
I like that island feel. Yeah.
It's an island feel, but it's also that, like you said, the 1950s sort of Bing Crosby thing. Yeah, which is
Hmm.
nostalgic. It's great. Yeah, you've contributed a lot to our caroling group, Dax. Thank you. I'm thrilled to have you with us all this time. Hope you
Thank
stay.
you. Yeah, no, it's fun.
So now you were just talking about being in the boys' choirs and doing these other pieces of music. You mentioned to me that you there's a song called Riu Riu Chiu that you have had on
Yeah,
your mind lately. And is that where you learned that in one of the boys' choruses that you were in, or?
it was actually like in high school in part of a theater group that I grew up in, or yeah, grew up doing in high school. And during the holidays, we would learn a couple of carols, and that one came across, and I had never heard it before. And it's a 16th century Spanish carol. I don't know if Galician comes to mind, but I don't think that's right. But yeah, I just remember words about a wolf, the Virgin Mary, and God. And there was a couple of strange pickups when you look at the music. And I want to say it like something, it was like in 3/2, and then there were just like um
Sing a little bit.
picking up the melody through all the different voices. And yeah, no, it was just a lot of fun. And then there's also just rhythm that supports it.
Yeah.
So somebody had a tambourine, but
I had never heard it before you brought it up to me, so I looked it up, and it's more well known than I would have thought because, like, even the monkeys have done it. The monkeys have a really cute version of it that they recorded on a television show in 67,
oh
1967.
man.
I know it's cute, but and you had sent me one that the King Singers had done, and I
Hmm.
do love that version. I really and I love the percussion in it. But I don't know it well enough to sing it. Can you sing just a little bit of it?
Riu Riu Chiu, la guarda ribera, yo sguardo el lobo de nuestra cordera, yo sguardo el lobo de nuestra cordera. And then the chorus comes in, and then there's that theme that is picked up in the different voices. But like the second verse that we had to learn, because when you're looking at it on the sheet page, and you know, with like Italian or Spanish, you're always like eliding syllables. So
Yeah.
there were so many there were so many syllables that were going into the next note, and it was just like, oh, that is a mouthful, but it's like, so it's so great. And then they're talking about like the wolf, guard the lamb from the wolf. Yeah, it's
I know, I was really
yeah.
surprised because I listened to it a few times before I thought to look up the translation. Yeah, and it says, "The rabid wolf wanted to bite
El-
her.
eh,
Almighty God knew how to defend her." I'm looking at the translation right now.
yeah,
"He willed to make her unable to sin, even original sin this virgin did not have." So it's about the virgin, and then it
as the
goes on.
lamb, yeah. And then it goes back into the chorus, and there are like multiple
And it
verses,
tells
but
Right, there's one about 1,000 angels who were singing, flying around, chanting in 1,000 voices, saying to the shepherds, "Glory in heaven and peace on earth, for Jesus is born." And then the last verse is about gifts. "Now we have what we desire. Let us go together to present him gifts. Let us all give him our will, for he came as our equal." Riu Riu Chiu. So thank you for introducing me
yeah.
to that one. You think we should add it to our book?
Yeah, I think it's, you know, it's good for 4 parts.
Uh,
And then like, you know, you only do like the, because I've heard it in like everybody sings the verse, and then also just like that is a good feature for a bass or a tenor in that, then with chorus,
we'll
and
leave
then
that.
then with chorus.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's harder to find the features for the bass singer, right? What is your favorite
But that's
piece?
that's not doing like the umchucks. What's my favorite carol that we
Favorite carol
sing?
book. What's your favorite bass part in the carol book?
I I don't, I have a little dreidel that is like super easy and super fun. Just get,
Mhm,
and then you cast it. But I actually really like all like the Dennis Deal
mhm.
um arrangements, because they're so clear, and then they get a little crunchy, which I really like.
Uh-huh.
and then it resolves nicely. I also really liked Margaret's A Holy Night,
Right.
just because it is,
Margaret Dorn. Margaret
it's super
both from the accidental.
jazzy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, it's super jazzy, and like your musicianship needs to be super good with that in order to make that arrangement work. And I know it's arranged for like more than 4 voices, but
Right.
just keying in and all of those shifts are so satisfying.
Margaret also arranged not Here Comes Santa Claus, but Santa Claus is Coming to Town for us. Right?
Oh yeah, and that actually is yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That's a fun one too. That's one of the first ones I learned in that. Then now, and then I go back. It'll be the Robert Shaw stuff.
I was so
So
thrilled when we got some of those
Holly and the
accidentals.
Ivy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that's a good
and
one
then
too.
yeah, in terms of the classic stuff.
Exactly. Exactly. I was so thrilled when we got some accidentals. I've been a big fan of this. It's an a cappella octet called the Accidentals. Um, and Margaret was at the head of that group, and she did a lot of arranging for them. And she sang with us for a few years and did some
Yeah, I
arranging.
sang with her one year. Yeah.
So great. She used to be a harlot for Bette Midler. And she was also the person who subbed for both of the women in the Manhattan Transfer for a few years. Can you imagine? I
Oh
know.
wow,
I know.
both parts.
I know. And Dennis, of course, was a bass with the Accidentals. And so when um, he was our music director for about 3 years and did a lot of arranging for us. And we miss them both.
Hmm.
But they certainly contributed a lot to our group that lives on.
Hmm.
Well, Dax, thank you so much for joining me today for this little Carol chat. I just love having you with us, and it's been fun. Thank
Thank you
you.
for having me, and happy 25th to I Smile in New York Productions.
Happy 25th to you too.
Silver Jubilee. Yeah.
Silver Jubilee. We got to work on some kind of silver bells play with that.
Oh yeah. All right.
Silver, I don't know. We'll work on it. We're open to suggestions, everybody. Until next time, this has been Dax Valdes and Renee Baker and Carol Chat. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye.